Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm back yet with another wrap up of the month. Can I just say the last couple of days have been rough and I feel like I'm pale as a ghost. I'm currently sick, I know. So yeah, it's been kicking my butt and here I am drinking Coke instead of water. I mean, hydration, right? Probably hydration would definitely help, but so with that being said, I managed to read 12 books in the month of April. Some of them have been like really thick books, but we're not off to such a great start because the first book that I read in the month of April was Left to Die by Blake Pierce, and I feel like this book really opened my eyes, and you know, it was the closure that I needed, because after this book, Left to Die, I'm just not going to read any other. I refuse to read any other Blake Pierce book. Like, listen, they're just so average, or if they're not average, they're just they feel like the story is dragging on. I don't think they're executed to the best possible way, and so I do get really bored reading his books. And yeah, with that being said, I won't be reading any more of his books. Yeah, especially because he comes out with his books way too frequently and they just keep popping up on my Kindle. A new book is out, a new book is out, and I'm like, not again, not again. I feel like that's a sign. Anyways, moving on. Now the next book, I've never read anything by Lucy Score before, but I can happily say I will be reading more of Lucy Score books. Also, technically, I already do have some Lucy Score books already. See, my problem is I tend to buy books without reading more from the author. Even if I've never read anything by the author, I'm like, ooh, great deal, yes, put into the cart, you know? And I'm just like, I bought a couple of Lucy Score books without even reading anything by her. I'm just like, you know what, it's about time, because like I cannot be buying more books by others I haven't even read yet. Like, how silly is that? Anyways, The Things We Never Got Over, I liked it, right? I liked it. I gave it 4 stars, but I also like, it's cute. Like any small town romance kind of vibe, it's always going to be cute. The only problem I have with it is the characters. I think they were like 43, 45-ish years old, and the way that they were acting, especially the main characters, the way that they were acting, I kind of was getting a bit of an ick at times. I was just like, nah, this should be an actual crime by the way that they are acting. Apart from that, I liked it. I like the story, I like the characters, obviously it's a small town vibe, obviously. So yeah, I liked it. And the next book that I read was The Predator, and again, another author I've never read anything by from, and I really like this one. So it's written from a third person, which I feel like it can be a bit of a hit and miss, but I really enjoyed it. I really felt like I was watching a movie, the way that I was imagining things. I like the plot, and like, it's a dark romance book, but it's not too extreme, it's not over the top. So there's obviously open door scenes, but I just felt like this would be a great starter to the dark romance genre, and I really liked it. You know, like sometimes the way that like dark romances have more spicy scenes and not enough of plot, this was like a perfect balance, and I really liked it. The next book that I read was Mile High, and again, another author I've never read before, but I really enjoyed it, especially because it had actual hockey scenes. Like, it was, you know, actual hockey romance book, and I liked the chemistry between the two main characters. I thought it was really good, except like I felt like it was a little bit too long, like just a tiny little bit, because like I felt like at one stage the author was trying to cram in as many cute scenes as possible, and I felt like there wasn't such a need for that. Like, maybe just put the other half in like another book or something. Like, I felt like it was just a little bit too much, but I liked it, like just a little bit too long. Worst Wingman Ever, I loved. I mean, it's Abby Jimenez. Like, I love a lot of her books, apart from one that I read which I just wasn't a huge fan of, but I liked it. It's a novella, so it's basically like a short story. And one thing I will say about Abby Jimenez books is there's a deeper meaning to them. It's not just like this cute and fluffy kind of little book that's gonna fall. she kind of stands out. That's what I'm trying to say. And the banter between the main characters I really enjoyed, so yeah. Okay, so this was a really thick book to get through. Like, I know it doesn't look like it, but this was close to 1,000 pages long. So it's Redeeming Six by Chloe Walsh, and it's a part of Boys of Torment series, and I love this series to pieces, especially the first two books. I still prefer Johnny and Shannon's story. I feel like they have more banter, their friend group is everything. Aoife and Joey, I feel like they're that couple that just can't seem to let one another go and just kind of move on and just like be done with it. Like, I mean, this was a real roller coaster, and I don't want to say of emotions because like it was more of a sad book, apart from like the ending, the last, I don't know, 150 maybe pages or so, where he was finally getting to deal with his trauma and everything that he dealt with to kind of like heal and all the healing parts and blah blah blah. Like, it was good. The last bit is what kind of gave it 4-star review, because in all fairness I was getting bored. It's really long, so I was gonna give it like 3.75, like it brought it a little bit up, but there just wasn't as much of a banter between the two characters as much as in the third book, which was Saving Six, and that's where you kind of get to see how they kind of came about and how they got together. Basically, this one just was a lot of sadness. Which, listen, I like sadness in my books, I do. This one was just a whole lot of same and yeah. That's not to say I don't love Joey. I love Joey. I think he's just such an adorable character, and the things that he went through just breaks my heart. But it just this was long. This was really long is what I'm trying to say. Alright, Punk 57. Like, I love Penelope Douglas' writing style. I love her stories. I didn't read that many of hers, but I really enjoyed them so far, the ones that I've read. And this one was really interesting because there was a mystery to it, so you were trying to kind of like see what's happening. It really intrigued me, and there were a couple plot twists. I really liked it. I was looking at reviews and I was just like so confused. People were like, oh my god, this was all smut. Like, listen, in comparison to the Devil's Night series, like, this had an actual plot. This wasn't as spicy as other like proper spicy books, so I don't know where people were getting at. But also, it's Penelope Douglas. Like, it's one thing I will say, don't go into an author's book knowing really well the type of books that the author writes. Obviously, side-eye. So yeah, it wasn't as degrading as Devil's Night, but also you get to see the 3/4 of the Horsemen from the Devil's Night series, and I loved that scene. I was all giddy and everything, and just they're my favorite psychotic characters that I've read about, and I love them. And that was actually the book that I read in my 24 hours readathon video that I posted there recently. And another book, which is the next one I'm talking about, is Icebreaker, and that was also in the video of my reactions and everything. And I loved Icebreaker. Like, it's one of my favorite hockey romances ever. I just thought it was just so cute and adorable, and I was actually giggling out loud. Like, looking at the footage that I filmed, I could not believe I haven't giggled so much in such a long time, and I was just like over the moon. The fact that like I was getting so much joy and giddiness from a book, which hasn't happened in such a long time. But I just thought the main female character, the bond between her and the hockey boys was just so sweet, and it just was kind of giving me the found family vibe. And there were so many cute scenes, and just, yes, it's an open door romance, but it also isn't over the top. Like, I don't consider this like to be smut. Like, I just don't think this was as spicy as people are like talking about, because I feel like there are spicier books out there. But yes, it's an open door romance, and it's an actual hockey romance with actual hockey scenes. What do you know? Next one is Anna O, and I have to admit the fact that I only read it because it had my name, and I was a little bit intrigued because of that. But I have to say, I just really didn't like this one. And I was listening to an audio version of this because I was getting in a little bit of a reading slump, you know. And I have to say, I don't know if it's because it was an audio book version type of format, because like I just kept getting so bored, and by the time when it got to the end, like you kind of like, I don't know, like I don't know. lovely choice of words. What I'm trying to say is, by the time it got to the end, I kind of was guessing like it was only out of the two characters that I was just like clinging towards who would be the killer, kind of. But then there was the plot twist at the end, which I kind of got confused, and then by the very end, when they revealed the person that I thought it actually was that person, and I was just like, you know what, I don't really care anymore. I did not care one single bit. It just felt like going in circles and in circles and in circles, and I was just like, when is it going to be over? Yeah. The next book that I had read, it's A Little Life, and I just want to say, I tabbed it, of course, and I want to say that this is my favorite book of all time, like of all time. And I cannot emphasize enough how sad, how amazing it is, and there's so many triggers. It's a very triggering book. You know what, throughout the whole book I was just like nearly in tears, right? My eyes were getting watery, but I wasn't crying until I got to like the last 100 pages, and I was ugly crying. I was sobbing. I just could not get through that last 100 pages. And it's a very slow book. The story and everything is there. It's absolutely stunning. If you get it, you get it. But like, it's about the journey of the story, which I love. And this one has to be my absolute favorite. The four main best friends that met in college, and you kind of see their journey throughout life in their, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And, you know, everything that they struggle with. I just find this such a beautiful story, and I cannot get over the story. Seeing my face, like, I swear you would have never thought that I was sobbing reading this book. Like, this book absolutely destroyed me, like 100%. I haven't recovered. I'm not the same person that I was when I started this book. Then another book that I read was The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, and this was another audiobook. The narrator actually sounded very similar to Britney, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like that, or maybe it was just my imagining, but I liked it. Like, she was talking about things that she wasn't able to talk about because due to her conservatorship, so I found it interesting to see, you know, her finally speaking up about things that she wasn't allowed to, you know. She didn't have a lot of rights, like, to actually see her side of the story. I liked it in that sense. You know, you really see her coming after, you know, her people, like her husband, her, you know, ex-boyfriend, her family, just all of these people. And I don't know, I just really liked it. Now, last but not least, I read So Not Meant to Be by Megan Quinn, and one thing I will say, Megan Quinn has never disappointed me. Like, I love her books, and I read quite a good few of hers, and I love them. Her characters always have some kind of banter. This one, you know, the main couple were bickering, they were arguing. I like them, and again, I was giggling and laughing out loud for this. I mean, it's Megan Quinn, come on. And one thing I will say, I skipped the first book somehow. I managed to skip it, but I will be reading it. And I just like the fact that, like, they had this podcast in the book, and they were kind of bringing these couples on their podcast to talk about how these couples met. And I was reading, I was just like, listen, these names sound very similar to her other couples in the books. And then it hit me. I was just like, the way that she wrote them, they were little cameos from her other books, the couples from the other books. And that made me excited. Like, I was over the moon. See, finally, again, all these couples again. Stop. That's all the 12 books that I read in the month of April. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.